Weaponeer here, and once again I got another product review for you. This time it's a multitasker. This is actually the Multitasker Ultralight. Now I have several reviews in the past showing the Multitasker tube. I actually have two reviews on the Multitasker tube. The tube is the base model basically, and then you have the Ultralight, which is far more, it's got far more tools in it, and then after that you got the base, the actual Multitasker, which is a phenomenal tool. But today we're going to be talking about the Ultralight. Let's just start out with the pouch. The pouch is just like the Maxpedition pouches. It's 1000 denier nylon, denier ballistic nylon. It is a really good quality pouch. In this case, you're talking single stitching all the way around. It looks like really heavy duty thread. It is MOLLE-compatible. In this case, being black, it's not the greatest one for MOLLE, or for putting on your vest and things. But as far as being able to be MOLLE-compatible, because of that, not only can you mount that MOLLE to whatever kind of vest or anything else tactical you want to mount it to, but it also allows you to adjust the size of belt. If you were to use this on on your typical dress belt, really narrow dress belt, you can adjust this specifically for a narrow dress belt, or you can, like right now it's basically a narrow dress belt, or you can just pull that out and then you have it being able to attach to a 3-inch, to be a GI pistol belt. So really good design. It's got a drain hole in the bottom, nice button snap, gets rid of the Velcro on here, and it is a nice heavy padded case. No problem there. I have had this tool for, boy, I'm thinking I probably had them for a couple of years. At least it feels like it. Because I've used this so often. Now inside you're going to find the tool as well as these 10 bits. And this right here is your average 1/4 inch drive bits. And you see them everywhere. But in this case, these drive bits are basically designed specifically for the AR platform. Not that it won't work with anything else. It'll work with anything else, but the actual bit selection is designed specifically for the AR platform. So if you're looking, if you have an AR15, hey, this is a great tool for an AR. This is probably the most specific tool for an AR out of the Multitasker line. And the reason I say that is because one of the tools on here, this one right here, that right there is a castle nut wrench, and that allows you to tighten down the stock castle nut, which would reside right here in this particular stock. This is the old Magpul M93 Bravo, and this right here would allow you, if you have a regular type of stock, you can take this castle nut. The whole point is, if you're in the field and your castle nut starts coming loose, which means your whole receiver extension, but your buffer tube is coming loose, what you can do is you can take this and you can tighten it up. It's not designed to, if you're in the military, normally what you would do is, if that thing's coming loose, if you are at the base where you have an armor, you would take it to the armor, and the armorer would go ahead and tighten it up. But in the field, you're not going to wait for the armor. You're going to go ahead and use your tool to go ahead and tighten it up to keep your weapon in service. Typically, it's not a big deal. Typically, it doesn't happen very often at all. But when it does happen, it's a pain. And nothing worse than having that darn thing always coming loose. And if you can't tighten it up properly, it's just going to bother you the whole time, because you don't know if your stock's going to fall off, basically. But with this right here, this castle nut tool, this allows you to go ahead and properly tighten that lock nut up, and it's going to go ahead and stay right where you put it. Like I said, it's not going to work on this particular one because it doesn't have one, but for any other kind of design, it's going to require it. And this also has a standard screwdriver bit on the end. This is a good wide one. That right there can be used for adjusting any kind of optics. So if you have your optics that don't have, like this right here, it's got the micro click on there. But if you have your more typical ones that use a screwdriver tip, well, you can adjust it with this right here, which works perfectly. You can also go ahead and take the cap off a beer with this too. Not that I've tried, but you could. So let's place the rifle down for a second. And the actual tool itself has got a G10. The outer skin on here is all G10. G10 is it's a really highly specialized fiberglass, and it was initially designed for marine activities, not Army, Navy, Marine, but marine as in boating industry. And it was designed to be the firewall between the engine and the rest of the craft. And it was designed specifically to handle really high temperatures and a lot of strain. And it makes a excellent gripping surface for knives or like this, the ultralight. Super durable stuff. This right here doesn't have a really aggressive feel to it, so it's not going to tear up your hand, anything like that. But it's aggressive enough that you can feel it. It's like a fine sandpaper, and it makes it a non-slick by doing that. It does have a belt clip, so it does have the capability of being used without having the pouch. You can put that on your belt clip. All these, they're all locking, so you have to unlock them to close. The main tool is probably this one, and this right here is the 1/4 inch drive, bit drive. Here's the name, the one that comes with it, and that right there is the typical front sight adjustment tool for an AR, which means you have an AR15. You can take this tool and insert it here, and you can adjust the front sight tool, or you adjust using the front sight tool to adjust your sights. Now the whole deal is, if you have the round type sight, if it's on the top, it's all rounded, well, that's the A1. If it's squared, it's A2. This is designed to fit the squared A2 style, not the A1. The other way to remove the front sight is obviously you can be using a bullet tip, or you can use the tool and for the other sections of the tool to go ahead and do that as well. Really nicely designed, like I said, for adjusting your front sight. The tool, just press it on your front sight and press down and turn. It makes it a lot easier to go ahead and adjust it rather than using the bullet tip. Bullet tip was always a pain in the butt, sticking it on there and you're scuffing it up and everything else. Have the proper tool. It's going to last, make your rifle look better. It's going to last longer. Let's go ahead and put this down again. And once again, everything's got a lock on it. As I stated, you can take the other bits and use whatever other bits in here. It's got a magnet base in here, and that allows it to stay, and which is pretty good. This is, I don't remember exactly how heavy this is, but it's got some weight to it, and the magnet in there is a really nice, strong magnet to hold that underweight. This makes it for a really good tool, and it's got it has some threading on the very outside, and that's designed for future use. They haven't decided what they're going to put there yet, but in the future they're going to use that for some other optional tools and parts and pieces. And once again, you just press right there and it'll unlock it. And one of the more unique tools on here is this one right here. That right there is called a dental pick, and you've got a brass handle with a steel hook, and that hook allows you to go ahead and clean any areas. The dental pick has been used for decades as a tool for cleaning all weapons. It started out with the M1 Garand, as far as I'm concerned, and they were using all kinds of dental pick, but they used the regular big ones. In this case, you're using a small one. And in this case, this is used specifically for cleaning the AR or any kind of other rifle. It doesn't really matter. But that right there, that allows you to have a nice sharp scraping point, as well as to get in very tight spots like the very top of the bolt. Allows you to go ahead and scrape right along the top. This isn't going to tear up the finish or anything like that. It just doesn't. I mean, you're really not going at it like mad. You're just loosening up any kind of material that might be on there. And this also can be used to pull the cotter pin out of the bolt carrier, so you can drop the firing pin. Got a number of different uses, and you can use this to take cord and wrap it around your gas tube on the inside of the receiver. You take a long piece of cord and you take a tool and you wrap it around twice on the gas tube, and then you use this back and forth motion to go ahead and clean along the whole surface of the gas tube. Works really good. I've used that method for 29 years. So the other thing about this right here is this is removable, so you can take that and it just comes right off. And this tip right here, they had other tips you can go ahead and put on, but this right here, this thread pattern, the thread pattern right here is designed to fit cleaning rod sections and things like that. So you can take a cleaning rod and you can throw it on, to get it right on there and use it for cleaning purposes. Or you can take any kind of Otis gear. Otis will screw right on here, and I use the Otis for cleaning. If you take that big cable and you slide it through the bore, and then you normally give you a little T rod. This is a lot easier. You just thread this on here, and you're able to give a lot better grip to go ahead and pull through. And works really nice. No complaints whatsoever. So any kind of, if you want to screw on a brush or anything like that, this makes for a good handle to do that. And once again, we'll take this and we'll thread it back on. And I do also have a number of written reviews on these, so it's not just video reviews. I've done a lot of written reviews on these. And the last tool on here is this one right here, and that right there is the carbon scraper. This is actually designed, or patterned, not designed, it's patterned after a Chinese ear cleaning tool a few centuries back. But it just happens to have the perfect shape for really getting in nice and close to anything you want to get into, really. If you need to get into your flash hider, you can use this to clean around the top edge. You can actually insert this into and clean around the top edge. You just simply go like that, and you're cleaning out any carbon that might build up right there. It's one of the spots I always required my unit to clean. I always had people go ahead and say, it's clean, my rifle's clean. And I'd go ahead and say, are you sure? And they'd say, yep. I said, want to bet? They say, sure. I'd go ahead and within 3 seconds, I'd go ahead and find big clops of big gooey carbon or something like that. And it's typically in spots I knew about. It's a little way of entertaining yourself and making sure everybody has extremely clean weapons. But if we had these at the time, it really would have made the job a lot easier. Like I said, this allows you to go ahead and get in all the other spots, especially the bolt carrier. The bolt carrier is the hardest one to clean, and this really makes it a lot easier. With just this right here, you're able to clean 100% of the rifle extremely quickly, and it really makes cleaning so much easier. I mean, cleaning a rifle, everybody wants the piston version because, gee, piston version, you don't have to clean that much. That's the whole point behind the piston rifles, is cleaning. It has nothing to do with performance. There's no performance advantage to it. Matter of fact, it's actually a performance reduction, because no longer is it a true free-floating barrel if you put a piston on it. So this right here makes that cleaning so much easier. And like I said, I've used this for quite some time. It is a nice, sharp, beveled surface here, so you can really get into the surfaces of all around the bolt carrier. This really does clean. This is what I use to clean all my ARs. And like I said, I got 6 ARs. So, and it also works on the AKs and things like that, except the only difference is on this one, you can't use the castle nut wrench on an AK, obviously. But that's the only tool that's not applicable. Everything else can be used for any other kind of weapon. And as far as the bits, you can remove any kind of bits on here and install the ones that you need. So it really depends on what you want to use. Go back to this one here again. You can pop that off and put on one of the other bits on here. And what it's really designed for is to tighten up everything, all the spots that have very specific sizes. you're able to go ahead and use it. I really think that, you know, when you buy a tool like this, you should go through each one of these and make sure that your rifle uses each one of them. If you have one missing, go ahead and, you know, find the one that you have missing and grab it and put it in, and then take out any one that you're not using. That way you have all the ones very specific to your rifle, and really good for optics and everything else. I use this for my gunsmithing, so that's how good it works, as I use it for gunsmithing. So there you go. This right here is the Multitasker Ultralight, and the only other thing about it that I haven't told you about is, well, I told you about the belt clip, but right here, that right there, you can use for a lanyard. So you can do a nice, pretty lanyard coming off of here, or, you know, neck style, or you can also, if you have the old style of scope, this also is big enough to adjust your scope without taking a tool out. So there you go. It's a very specific tool designed for, you know, gunsmithing, light gunsmithing, and maintenance and cleaning. It's very well made. Mine looks like it's brand new, and I've used it exclusively. I have nothing bad to say about it. I believe it's mostly stainless steel with a matte black oxide finish, which is basically parkerizing. So, and the other thing I recommend is when you go ahead and you start using it, don't forget to, you know, apply a light coat of oil, because, you know, you're going to go ahead and try and protect the steel, especially for the bits. These things are notorious for rusting in humid environments. Not this one right here, but all the quarter-inch bits that I have, they always tend to rust if you don't go ahead and apply a little protection on them. So there you go. This right here is the Multitasker Ultralight. Have any comments or questions on this tool, feel free to leave it below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to rate my videos. I'm Weaponeer, and I'll catch you in the next one.